Rings, I love them. This is part of my ring collection, which I want to show you. Very many different types and sorts, and some of them for ornaments, some of them are very practical. They're tools, actually, but you wouldn't believe that. Most of them will be kept in a ring box like this one here, which comes from jewellers' shops. Inside is the first of the rings. This one is actually a magician's ring. It's really quite an ornate one, and quite expensive, I think it was at the time. It was a magic trick. It looks like one with an emerald on it, but if you're a magician you can do this surreptitiously without anyone noticing you doing it. I'm turning it round like that, and now you see it's turned into a diamond with gold on it, so it's looking like a completely different ring, and yet it's clearly the same piece. All it's doing is that I'm swinging it round and you're looking at two different jewels. It's gone back to an emerald again. So a lovely piece of engineering made for magicians to perform with, and it comes in a box like that. Some of the boxes, incidentally, that they have in jewellery shops are very ornate. You could almost make a separate collection just of ring boxes. What a thought. So let's have a look at this one. Oh yes, this is one that we've had for a long time. We still have it on our shop. I think it came out, well, over 100 years ago. It's called an optical illusion ring. When you put it on your finger and turn it one way or the other, it gets bigger or smaller. That's getting smaller and smaller. If I go the other way, it gets bigger and bigger, but of course it doesn't really. It just looks, it's the design which does that appearance. We came across an old photograph, black and white, from about 1895, I think it was, showing the same piece, still available then. So, what a lovely box to put it in too. A little rose, very, very pretty indeed. Another type of ring box is this one here, and this one's got a magician's ring, another version. Looks like an ordinary ring, except if I put it on my finger, what else can I do with it? Well, it's actually a very strong magnet. There we are, there's my biro. Straight, hold it up and hang it on the top. And also I could put it like that, so I can draw things out of my pocket without you realising it, and it'll be actually attached to the magnet there. So many, many uses of a very strong magnetic ring that a magician can make use of and do clever tricks and things. Take it off their fingers in trouble too. Beautiful. I belong to a puzzle fraternity which collects puzzles from all over the world, mechanical puzzles, and this is one of the favourites that many people have huge collections of. They're called originally Turkish puzzle rings, they call them. And it looks like an ordinary ring, except it's got different parts to it here. These separate out like that. And when you unscramble it, it becomes quite a mess. And it's quite tricky to find how to weave it, literally weaving it, back into the shape of a ring again. And this is a particularly nice one because it's got a jewel at the top. So take it apart, shake it, and then, goodness me, what a mess. You might spend half an hour putting it all together again because all the pieces have to be put in a certain way, in certain order. And it's a very difficult puzzle to do. There we are, it's already slipping apart. I'll put that back into there and have a go this evening. Here's a fun thing really for parties. It's a ring with a spirit level on it. I suppose the idea is to find out if you're a bit tipsy, because if you're a little bit drunk you might be at that angle or that angle, and you know you've drunk too much to drink. You've got to be about there, nice and steady, and then you know you're dead sober. Better have a few more drinks in that case. But a nice one is a little gadget, a little sort of alcohol tester. This is something I've been making myself for some time now. It's another kind of puzzle ring which Mel Stover showed me here, a lovely Canadian magician. Each of these rings that all link together forms a band, and then you find it's much too tight to go on the finger. How do you get this onto your finger? The answer is you do a very clever arrangement with this. You separate them out slightly, you pull them apart. No, I haven't done it there properly. I'm going to put my finger in between, and I'll show you what happens when it's done. And now we've got an arrangement where we have a sort of ring, although it looks a bit triangular, but there are only two pieces going around, not all three, and that's now expanded by about 50%. I don't think I've done it right, actually. One more time. It's going to be like that. That's going to separate like that. There we are. And that then goes on my finger. And just about fits on my finger with a bit of a push. But if you don't know that trick, there's no way you can get it on the finger because it's just too tight and too small. Well, you can make that out of costume ring, costume jewellery very, very easily, and I make lots of them to give out to friends as a novelty. This one is strange because it's not really meant to be worn as an ornament, as a ring. It's meant to be a sort of therapeutic thing to help circulation of the blood in the fingers, they say. You're supposed to roll that up and down. It's semi-sharp, but it's not uncomfortable. You roll it up, down, down lots of times to help circulation of the blood in the fingers. And you put it on each finger in turn, and it expands and does this lovely, rather pretty action. And it's an aid to help with your health, I suppose. Well, interesting idea for a ring, isn't it? Here's one you'd use in the kitchen, I suppose. It's something that a cook would use because it's a ring which sits on the finger like that, but it's got a very sharp blade underneath there. It's only made of plastic, but it's still sharp enough, and the idea is to put it on your finger and place an orange or lemon or something in it, and as you turn it around, that sharp blade will cut through the skin of the orange or the lemon and allow you to get at the fruit itself inside. So it's a gadget really to be worn on the finger for cooks. And here's another completely practical one here, which you'd again take to a party probably, because it's got that well-known design. Do you recognise it? Yes, it's another cap bottle opener. It's got a very strong, it's made of very strong metal. Put it on the cap and lift it, and you can get at your beer, your cider, your drink. And then you put it back on your finger, and it's your own little personal bottle opener, which you can keep, not in your pocket, but on your finger. Nice one. Here's a lovely bit of engineering. As an ex-engineer myself, it's my favourite, I think. It's a gear ring, because as you're turning it, you're getting the gears turning around inside. Beautiful as it's turning. You've got two long straight gears, and then, wow, like racks and gear wheels inside it. Beautiful, beautiful bit of engineering that. And makes anyone who's involved with gears and engineering very envious, because it's such a lovely object d'art for engineers. One of the earliest ones I ever got, which I'll leave on my finger for a little time now, is this one here called a mood ring. And the idea is it's got a special chemical in it to, when it's warmth, when the back of the ring is on the skin of a person's hand, providing the hand's fairly warm, it will warm up and then start changing colour to show you're in love or in whatever mood you're in. It's already starting to turn, actually. It starts off black and it's already a sort of dull green colour, so it'll get a bit warmer still. I'll leave it on a bit longer. This is a nice one. I picked up in America many years ago. It's the lovely old picture of tragedy and comedy. It's got those two lovely faces. There we are. One's happy and smiling, the other one's all woeful and tearful. So you've got two pictures on it, depending on the mood you're in. You're a very happy person, or you're feeling tragic and misused and all very sad and things. So nice tragedy comedy as a ring. That's a very, very, really nice idea. This one is really meant for small kids, I suppose. It's a ring, but it's a noisemaker. Can you guess what it's going to do? Oh, I'll put it on my finger, and I'll blow on it. Oh, that's nice, isn't it? Yes, it's a little siren. That's just what kids will love at parties, so a perfect little tracker toy to give to kids. And also for children, I suppose more girls than boys, it's a little heart-shaped one. It's got electronics, and this is a time when it was starting to come in popular, and there's a tiny little LED arrangement and a little chip inside, and it allows you to go flash, flash, flash. There are hundreds and hundreds of these around. Jewellery which lights up is very, very common, and a little button at the bottom to turn the thing off as well. So nice to wear, and it's very, very pretty to look at, and yet it turns itself off so neatly. The penultimate one is a beautiful idea. It's got an eye on it, so if I put it on your finger, it looks like an eye. But there's also a tippy top, which is lovely. So if I spin it, when it's upside down like that, it'll turn over. Let's have a go. Put it on their table, spin it. There we are. It's turned upside down, and it's now spinning the other way. It started off that way round, and when it's spinning, because it's got a weight to it, and a distribution of the weight, it turns up like that. Very nice idea of a tippy top. Beautiful. Yes, that's got a nice, definitely a nice colour of my mood ring. The last one is a German one, which I picked up in Nuremberg back in the 1980s. So this is a very, very old idea. It's called, well, I won't give it away actually. So I'll just wind up and show you what happens. You wind it up before you actually go and meet somebody at a party, and then you show them your ring. There we are, there's my ring, a bit dull. And as you get very close to look even more closely at it, you squeeze the thing and then, oh, sparks come from it. It's got a tiny little spring, a tiny little knurled wheel, and a flint going over the wheel so that when it's wound up, it sparks nicely. Let's give it one more go. It's a sparking finger ring. I got it originally from a magician's shop in London and then found them at Nuremberg. When you squeeze the thing, you can't see me doing it, sparks come out. Wow. So there's been an awful lot of very, very clever work done with rings over the years, and I'm still finding from time to time new rings, new things they do with rings. Perhaps you should start searching yourself, find out what you can in finger rings which have something clever in them. That's what we have here.